Sorry about that, y'all. This is part 2 of my Orangehaus video because part 1 ended up getting corrupted. Not corrupted. I ended up having to end part 1 abruptly because my body was acting up, and yeah, let's just say it was not a fun time. But I'm back, and yeah, so let's just jump right into it. I left off on day 2 and the first open mic, which was pretty fun. We had a student open the night by performing a stand-up act with no punchlines. He only told the first half of the joke, so yeah. And then we had an original song by two of the girls in the group called "What Does He Do," which was pretty nice. And "Everybody Talks" by Neon Trees, "Goodbye" by Bo Burnham, an unnamed original song, and then later another original song by one of the by a student in the group who I actually used to play with in another band. I'm not going to name any names, but yeah, he knows who he is. Anyhow, and then we had Shawn Mendes Stitches because one of our counselors is a huge Shawn Mendes stan. Well, I wouldn't say stan, but pretty big fan, definitely. And I performed a few songs. "Never Met" by CM10 and Glitch Gum, which if you've never heard of it, you might have heard like a TikTok with it in it. I don't know. And MGK, Machine Gun Kelly, and Black Bears, "My Ex's Best Friend." And, well, I didn't perform this one, but Hot Shell Rays Tonight Tonight. I'm sure you guys have heard that one. And the same student that started with a song started with an act with no punchlines, ended the night by improvising a song with only punchlines, bringing it, full circle. Anyhow, so day 3, I got lost on the way to breakfast again because apparently I didn't learn my lesson from day 2. And then we had another music business class. I don't remember much of that day's music class because I didn't write anything down for it, really. But the songwriting, so I forgot to mention this, but for day 2, which was our first full day, the challenge was to write a poem or song or whatever, using the words bruise, convincing, lampshade, and expensive. And yeah, so anyhow, for this one, it was write about like God, like in any way, but like don't use like any words that are like really associated with God, like heavens and Bible and stuff like that, and Jesus, all that. We couldn't use any of that because we were avoiding cliches. So I wrote this, "Are You There?" which I don't know if you guys can really see it. If you want to, you could go ahead and pause and read what you can of it, but anyhow, so then we had lunch, and then we finished, well, not really finished, well, I mean, basically finished recording the demo that we had started on day 2 in Pro Tools, and they demonstrated EQ and compression, among other things, like quantizing and like duplicating and all that kind of stuff. All the fancy production stuff that a soundtrack geek like me can never understand. Well, I'm sure I could, but like it's the stuff I've learned from watching way too many instrumental remakes on YouTube. Anyhow, then we wrote out a working bio and put it on a Google Doc. I do have my bio saved, but I'm not gonna share it right now. I'm not gonna read it right now because that would take way too long. Anyhow, so we added the following songs to our band set list: Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, "I Hate Myself for Loving You," which that one we didn't actually end up performing, which I would have loved to, but it's whatever. But the main one that I was the most excited about, Eminem's "Lose Yourself," because ya boy did a thing on that one. Anyhow, then we had an open mic which was karaoke themed. Uh, so among the songs that were performed were Ian Dior and Lil Baby's Prospect, because we had another rapper there who was a really big fan of Ian Dior. So yeah, I mean, I like that song, but it's not my favorite of Ian Dior's. That would probably go to Gone Girl with Trippie Redd, but anyhow. Then we had Frank Sinatra's Blue Moon and Ella Fitzgerald's My Funny Valentine. Khalid with Location. Sleeping at Last by Saturn, or other way around. The song is called Saturn, the band is Sleeping at Last. Don't know how I messed that up. But anyhow, Overwhelming by John Bellion. Plain White Tees, Hey There Delilah. And Backstreet Boys, I Want It That Way. So, 2 classics back to back. At least I think they were back to back. I don't remember. But, and then I had a few songs, one of them being The Sun by Casey, which I talked about in part 1. Really awesome banger. And Imagine Dragons and JID's Enemy, which I wanted to be on our band's set list, but it ended up not making the cut. So, yeah, I decided to perform it for the open mic instead. So, yeah, I can do a JID. Anyhow, day 4, I didn't lose my way to breakfast this time, so yay me for that. And then for music business, we learned about who the biggest artists and what the top-selling albums are, according to the RIAA, the Recording Industry Association of America. The one, and fun fact, the top-selling album in the U.S. of all time is, I believe it's a greatest hits album by the Eagles that went 38 times platinum. Ain't that something? That's 3.8 times diamond, almost 4 times diamond. It's crazy, man. That's like 38 million units. Can you imagine selling that many? Anyhow, so this songwriting class for that day was probably the most interesting one out of the bunch, because the teacher taught us like how to like use all of our senses to like, I guess captivate like our listeners, like using like sensory details. So first off, for the sense of hearing, we had this like, it was some sort of Indian instrument. I forgot what it was called, but like it was like on loop playing that, and we had to write based on like what the sound was for that, I guess you could say. Like, so I wrote Spacebound for that one. So yeah, which is right here. And then because it sounded kind of like spacey to me. But and then for the sense of sight, we had this painting. It was The Temptation of something. I forgot the full name, but it was like this castle, and like an elephant with really long legs was carrying it on its back, and there was like a dude with a cross in the background and a whole bunch of other weird stuff. But for that, I wrote, appropriately enough, Into My Castle. So yeah. Don't know what that was, but anyhow, and then so I keep getting interrupted. Anyway, finally we had the sense of smell, and we for that one, we had a stick of chapstick, which he didn't tell us that's what it was. Like, he told us to close our eyes, and then he would go around and like he would like put it up to our face, and then obviously we would like get a whiff of it, and like we would like, I guess, like write something based off of that. And so I wrote this, which was Air That I Breathe. So yeah. It was interesting to see like what people like thought it was. Like, one person thought it was gum, someone else thought it was essential oils. I honestly thought it was some sort of like perfume. But I kind of like cheated out of it, because like he said not to open our eyes until like everyone had gotten the chance to smell it. But after I smelled it, I did open my eyes and see that it was a bottle of chapstick. So, because I was just really curious. But I honestly thought it was like some sort of like perfume or something. But obviously, I'm not that good at like identifying scents. I'm just not that cut out for it. But anyhow, so yeah, anyhow, we so we for the demo we were working on throughout the week, we added some instrumental accompaniments to it, like drums, bass, electric guitar. We made like a solid like pop rock jam, you know. So yeah, and then we had another teacher go and teach us like how to find touring venues and gave us a template for a pitch email should we want to, book a gig with a certain venue. And I learned that there are a few venues in near where I live that aren't that fond of rap music. So, but then again, there are plenty of that do welcome all genres. So I could just play at one of those if I really wanted to. Anyhow, so we rehearsed all of our previous songs, plus Kill Beat Girl by the Backseat Lovers, which was suggested by one of our band members, and that one was a really fun song to play. I was on keys for that one as well, which we later performed at the open mic for everyone. And speaking of open mic, the songs that we all performed, I didn't get to do one by myself, but hey, it was the only night where I didn't get to do that. But so two of the students from the college we were staying at, which is the college on my shirt, they they why am I like losing my train of thought? They like performed some of the songs that they had written like as a duo, and one of them actually did do an internship at Nashville with the Ashley Gorley, who has written like for big names. So that was pretty cool. But anyhow, the songs they performed were Man After Midnight, Pinky Swears, Tears from the Grave, as well as My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion, which I didn't write on that list. But anyhow, then we had a few original songs performed, and then Coldplay's The Scientist. It was a duet between some of the girls. And then we had, for all you Stranger Things out there, Running Up That Hill by Kate Bush. So that was pretty fun. And then we had For the First Time in Forever from Frozen, and Bad Romance by Lady Gaga. And also I wrote a song called Effortless Equals Cool from that night, using the verse I had written on Monday and some miscellaneous verses from these miscellaneous parts of these verses that I had written on Tuesday, because I didn't want too much empty space in my notebook, so I just wrote stuff. And so I did do that. I don't know if I'm ever gonna like record it or release it, but it is there. So yeah, anyhow, I'm just gonna go ahead and end it here, because it might get a bit too long, and if it does, I'm scared that it'll end up corrupting again, and then I'll end up losing this file, so I don't want that to happen. So I'm just going to talk about the last 3 days in another video, so part 3, and until next time, this is Moneybags saying goodbye.